Have you ever wondered if your ancestors are trying to talk to you? What if I told you that they're trying to talk to you right now? I'm Asha Wilkerson, an intuitive coach dedicated to helping you connect to your ancestors and harness their guidance on your spiritual journey. In today's video, we'll explore how your ancestors communicate and action steps that you can take to turn up the volume on their message. If you're ready to connect to your ancestors so that you can experience joy, go ahead and join my 5-day joy activation challenge that's linked in the description below. I will walk you through the process of connecting to joy using your ancestors, and it's incredible. Our ancestors communicate with us in so many different ways, from dreams to feelings to messages in the world. I often get messages through songs. Sometimes I'll see repeated numbers. Sometimes it'll be something that someone has said, and then I hear that same phrase or sentence from somebody else. Our ancestors communicate with us all the time. We just have to learn how to open up our minds so that we can hear and see and feel and receive all the messages that they have for us. I'm not sure if you know this about me yet, but I am opening up a healing space in Lisbon. And several months ago, I kept saying, oh, I just want a space to be able to do my healing work. And then I would say, no, Asha, no, you don't. You run an online business. You love being online. You love to travel. You don't want to have any ties or like an anchor in a place that's going to slow you down from living your life. But I kept repeating this phrase kind of subconsciously, not really thinking about it. Then a couple months later, I went to a friend's pop-up store, and as soon as I walked into this space, I felt like I'm supposed to be here. It just dropped into my knowing, and I knew that it was a message from my ancestors because it felt very factual and it didn't have any emotion associated with it. I walked throughout the store and my friend was just renting the space. And then another friend let me know that the current business owner is actually looking to sell the business. And again, it dropped in, you're supposed to be here. And I said aloud without thinking about it, this is my space. Fast forward a few weeks later, things are moving along. I ask my coach and my healer, what am I supposed to be focused on? Because I am working on really connecting people to their intuition through ancestral connection. And that's what I'm really passionate about. And she said, yeah, that's great. That's a part of it though. What you're really doing is opening hearts for people. And one of the ways that you do that is through ancestral connection. And I sat there for a couple seconds and I thought about it and I said, oh my God, the business that is in the place where I'm going to open my business was called Open Hearts. So all of these things had come together in different ways through the words out of my mouth that I wasn't aware of, through the intuition, the claircognizance, the knowing that dropped in when I showed up in the space, to even my healer saying open hearts, and then making the connection that the previous business was called Open Hearts. My ancestors were speaking to me in a way that was so clear that I knew that this was the next step of my journey, that I am supposed to be opening this business in Lisbon. I've had other situations where I've asked for a sign and it's come through song lyrics. There was a situation months ago now where I was kind of talking to somebody and I was like, I'm not even sure if this is what I'm supposed to do. And I knew it deep down that I needed to end this relationship. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't aligned, right? And I put on my music, started dancing around, and then all of a sudden, one of my favorite salsa songs comes on, Cuban salsa, and the lyrics are, no vale la pena, no vale la pena, no. And it means in English, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, no. That was another sign from my ancestors when I specifically asked them to give me a sign that the situation had come to a close and it wouldn't be worth my time or my energy to continue moving forward. So your ancestors may be speaking to you in dreams. They may speak to you through other people. They may speak to you by you finding an object on the ground. I'm sure you've probably heard people say, I saw feathers and it made me think of my grandmother, or I was thinking of my cousin that passed away and then I saw a hummingbird. All of those things can be signs that your ancestors are communicating with you. And if you're not sure if it's just lifing or if it's your ancestors, I challenge you to ask them for a specific sign that they're communicating with you and then see what happens. Another way to turn up the volume on the voices that you hear, the messages that you hear from your ancestors, because it's not always a voice, is to engage in practices that strengthen that communication channel. So things like journaling or pulling tarot or oracle cards or sitting in meditation. I love to do all of those things. Now, I talked about journaling in my last video, and if you haven't seen it, check it out here. But let me talk about using oracle or tarot cards for a minute. I love these tools of divination because they should be confirming what you already know inside. They should be confirming the messages that you're receiving in other areas, but it's great because you can ask a specific question, pull a card right there, and see what the immediate response is. Every single time I pull a tarot card, it confirms what I'm already thinking inside. And so what tarot cards do for me is they reinforce that I'm feeling it already. They reinforce that I'm already connected because it's not telling me anything new. It's telling me something that I already know. And I love it. And I love being able to use tarot and oracle cards for other people, especially when it's somebody that I know, because sometimes I get a little concerned that I know too much and maybe I'm just projecting from what I know and I'm not actually feeling into the energy. But every single time I get ready to do a reading for somebody that I know, and if I'm feeling a little anxious and I pull the tarot cards, it confirms what I was already feeling. So these tools of divination are absolutely incredible. If you're looking to strengthen the communication channel between you and your ancestors, I encourage you to give them a try. So I'm curious, I want to know from you, what is one of the most profound messages that you have received from your ancestors? I would love it if you would drop your experience in the comments below. The third thing that you need to do to strengthen the communication channel between you and your ancestors is to let go of old beliefs and old patterns that might stop you from receiving the message. So I talk about this all the time, but religion has often disconnected us from that channel, where particularly Christianity has a very narrow view of what is right and what is of the light, and everything else is dark. And so we have been disconnected, particularly as people of color, from our own indigenous and ancestral practices that keep us connected from generation to generation. So you might have to let go of some beliefs that these practices are taboo. You might have to let go of the belief that you're inviting black magic into your life. You might have to let go of the belief that if you open the door, you don't know what you're gonna get. That's not true. You are in control of this experience, and you are able to open and turn up the dial and turn down the dial on the communication as you want. But if you're really interested in communicating, you're gonna have to learn how to let go of any preconceived notions that you have so that you can just get the message as it comes through. The other thing you're gonna have to let go of too is how you think that the message should come through. I remember when I first started out, I wanted to see things play out like a movie. I wanted it to be so clear that this was a message from my ancestors, and I wanted it to be loud that it would almost like stop me in my tracks, because then I would know it was from them and not from me. That is not how I work. I do not see things in images. I do not hear voices, even though sometimes it feels like that could be scary, but like messages that drop through, I'm much more cerebral and much more of a feeler. So it'll be a feeling that comes into my body that gives me a message. And I had to learn how to listen to that, because when I was first starting out, my teacher would say, well, Asha, what do you feel in your body? And I'd say, I feel something in my stomach, but I just ate, so I don't know. I don't think that's from my ancestors. She'd be like, Asha, that's a message. Who cares if you just ate? If you're feeling it, if you have an awareness there, it's a message. What is it telling you? So I certainly had to have that support and learn how to open up for what I was receiving, to even recognize that I was receiving. And this brings me to my last point. It might be worth it for you to hire a spiritual guide or to work with a spiritual coach so that you can get some guidance and some logical explanation for the things that are happening that feel like they are illogical. Like I just mentioned, I wanted the messages to show up for me in this flashy kind of show-stopping way, and they weren't showing up that way. My coach had to tell me, Asha, that feeling that you think is just from hunger or digestion is actually a message from your guides. Tune in and listen. The other benefit of having someone who is a little bit further down this journey than you are is that they can tell you what they experience and they will help you normalize your experience so that you can connect. And we can't always find that in family unless you come from a family of healers and people that are highly connected, because some people are going to think we're weird. Some people aren't going to understand it. Some people are going to want to rely more on logic, or they're going to make the argument of science versus religion or woo versus science. It all goes together. So find yourself a community, find yourself a healer, find yourself a spiritual teacher that you feel comfortable learning with so that you can open that door and strengthen that connection with your ancestors. So this week, as you're moving and grooving throughout your life, I want you to think about what messages you're receiving. Now that you're going to be paying attention and noticing, are the messages coming through a little more loudly? Are they stronger? How are they showing up? And are you surprised? How does it feel? Thank you for watching this video. I am so appreciative that you are here. Please like and subscribe so we can stay connected, and definitely let me know about your experience in the comments below. I'm happy to share with you, and I will see you in the next video.